Aisha Monroe screamed as the airplane door ripped open at 30,000 feet, the freezing wind howling like a beast. She clung to her first-class seat, her knuckles white, as the flight attendant, a woman with cold, gleaming eyes, pointed at her and shouted, "You're not supposed to be here!" The cabin shook, oxygen masks dangling like ghosts. Passengers screamed, but the flight attendant, Karen, grabbed Aisha's arm, dragging her toward the gaping door. "You know too much," Karen hissed, her face twisting. Then, with a gasp, Karen's eyes rolled back, and she collapsed, her body sliding toward the open door as the plane plunged into chaos. Hours earlier, Aisha had boarded Flight 217 from New York to San Francisco, her mind on a big tech merger. She was 32, a rising star at Nextech with a sharp mind and a sharper wardrobe. Her first-class seat, 3A, was a rare treat, paid for by her company. She settled in, her tablet open to emails about the merger, a deal that could shake up the tech world. The cabin smelled of leather and coffee, and the other passengers, mostly suits and socialites, barely glanced her way. Aisha noticed Karen, the flight attendant, right away. Karen's smile was tight, her movements jerky, like she was hiding something. She poured champagne for a man in 2B but skipped Aisha. "No drinks for you yet," Karen muttered, her voice low. Aisha shrugged it off, thinking Karen was just rude. She didn't know Karen was watching her every move. The plane leveled off, and Aisha started working. Her tablet pinged with a strange email. "Careful who you trust, they're watching." No sender, no signature. She frowned, chalking it up to spam, but a chill ran down her spine. Then Karen appeared, looming over her seat. "Ma'am, you're in the wrong seat," Karen said, her voice sharp. Aisha blinked, confused. "This is my seat. 3A. Check my boarding pass." She showed her phone, the digital pass clear as day. Karen's eyes narrowed. "There's a mistake. You're in economy. Move now." The cabin went quiet. A woman in 4C whispered to her husband. Aisha's heart raced, but she kept her cool. "I'm not moving. This is my seat. Get your manager." Karen's face turned red. "Don't make a scene," she snapped, grabbing Aisha's arm. Aisha yanked free, standing tall. "Don't touch." "Me. I paid for this seat, and I'm staying." Passengers stared. The man in 2B coughed, looking away. Karen leaned closer, her breath hot. "You don't belong here," she hissed, low enough that only Aisha heard. The words stung, heavy with something darker than rudeness. Karen didn't back down. She called for another flight attendant, a young man named Tim, who looked nervous. "She's in the wrong seat," Karen told him, pointing at Aisha. Tim checked Aisha's boarding pass, then the system on his tablet. "She's correct. Seat 3A, first class," he said, glancing at Karen. Karen's jaw tightened. "Check again," she demanded. Tim hesitated, then shook his head. "It's right. She's good." Karen glared at Aisha, her eyes like knives. "Fine," she muttered, storming off. Aisha sat back down, her hands shaking. She felt every eye in the cabin on her. The merger, the strange email, Karen's words. It all felt connected, but how? She opened her tablet, trying to focus, but her mind kept drifting to Karen's hate-filled stare. An hour later, the plane hit turbulence. The seatbelt sign flashed, and Aisha buckled up. Karen was back, pushing a cart, her face pale. She stopped at Aisha's row, her hands trembling. "You think you're smart," she whispered, leaning in. "You don't know what's coming." Aisha's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" Karen opened her mouth, but before she could speak, her eyes widened. She clutched her chest, gasping. "I didn't mean—" Her knees buckled, and she collapsed, hitting the floor hard. The cart tipped, spilling drinks. Passengers screamed. Tim ran over, kneeling beside Karen. "She's breathing, but it's weak," he shouted. A doctor from business class pushed through, checking her pulse. "Possible heart attack," he said, starting CPR. Aisha stared, frozen. Karen's collapse felt too sudden, too convenient. She noticed a small object on the floor, a badge fallen from Karen's uniform. It read K. Reed, but scratched into the back was E. Voss. Aisha slipped it into her pocket, her heart pounding. Something was very wrong. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Folks, we're making an emergency landing in Chicago. Stay calm." The plane tilted, and Aisha gripped her armrest. Passengers whispered, some crying. The doctor kept working on Karen, but her face stayed gray. Aisha's mind raced. The badge, the email, Karen's words, Jinji. Aisha pulled her tablet from her bag, opening a search for E. Voss. A news article popped up. Flight attendant, Ellen Voss, missing. After corporate fraud case. The photo showed a woman who looked exactly like Karen, but with darker hair. The article said Voss worked for Sky High Airlines, same as Flight 217, and vanished after exposing a scheme involving passenger data theft. Aisha's breath caught. Was Karen really Ellen Voss, hiding under a fake name? And why target her? The merger she was working on involved Nextech buying a rival company, Skynet, which had ties to Sky High Airlines. Could Karen, or Ellen, know something about it? The plane landed hard in Chicago, sirens wailing outside. Paramedics rushed aboard, strapping Karen to a stretcher. She was alive but unconscious, her lips moving faintly, like she was trying to speak. Aisha watched, clutching the badge. A gate agent approached, a sweaty man in a cheap suit. "Ms. Monroe, we're so sorry," he said, handing her a voucher. "We'll investigate this. Free flight, on us." Aisha nodded, but she wasn't listening. She needed answers. At the airport, she sat in a quiet lounge, searching more about Ellen Voss. The fraud case linked to Sky High involved selling passenger data to corporations, data that could ruin deals like her merger. Aisha's company, Nextech, was pushing for transparency, which threatened Skynet's secrets. Was Karen trying to stop her? As Aisha waited for her connecting flight, a man sat beside her. He was older, with gray hair and a scar on his cheek. "You're Aisha Monroe," he said, his voice low. "You're in danger." She froze. "Who are you?" "Someone who knows Ellen Voss," he said. "She's not who you think. She's working for Skynet, trying to scare you off the merger. That collapse? It was fake. A trick to get away." Aisha's mouth went dry. "Why me? You're the key to the merger. If it goes through, Skynet's dirty deals come out. They'll do anything to stop you." Before Aisha could ask more, the man stood, slipping a burner phone into her hand. "Use this if you need help. Don't trust anyone." He vanished into the crowd. Aisha boarded her new flight to San Francisco, still in first class, but she couldn't relax. Every noise made her jump. She kept the burner phone hidden, checking her tablet for more clues. She found a leaked memo from Skynet, hinting at a plan to neutralize Nextech's team. Her name was on the list. At 30,000 feet, the plane hit turbulence again. The lights flickered, and Aisha's heart stopped as the cabin door, the one to the cockpit, creaked open. A flight attendant stepped out, but it wasn't Tim. It was a woman with short blonde hair, her eyes locked on Aisha. "Ms. Monroe," the woman said, smiling. "We need to talk." Aisha's hand closed around the burner phone. Was this another trap? The woman's smile didn't reach her eyes, and Aisha noticed a bulge under her jacket, something that looked like a gun. Aisha's heart pounded, but she kept her voice steady. "Who are you?" The woman's smile widened, but it was cold, like a snake's. "Call me Lisa. We have a problem, Ms. Monroe. You're sticking your nose where it doesn't belong." Aisha gripped the burner phone tighter, her thumb hovering over the power button. "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to San Francisco." Lisa leaned closer, her voice a whisper. "Don't play dumb. We know about the merger. We know you're digging into Skynet. Stop, or you won't make it off." This plane, the cabin was dark. The other passengers asleep or distracted by their screens. Aisha glanced around, hoping someone would notice, but no one did. Lisa's hand moved to her jacket, and Aisha saw the glint of metal. It was a gun, small but real. "I'm not scared," Aisha said, her voice firm, even though her stomach twisted. "You can't just threaten me and expect me to quit." Lisa's eyes narrowed. "You're brave. Stupid, but brave. Last chance. Back off, or—" The plane lurched, cutting her off. The seatbelt sign flashed, and a voice crackled over the intercom. "Folks, we're hitting some rough air. Stay seated." Lisa stumbled, grabbing the seat for balance. Aisha saw her chance. She bolted from her seat, dodging Lisa's outstretched hand, and ran toward the back of the plane, her heart racing. Aisha ducked into the galley, where a curtain hid her from view. Her breath came in short gasps as she crouched behind a cart. She could hear Lisa's footsteps, slow and deliberate, getting closer. "Ms. Monroe," Lisa called, her voice sweet, but deadly. You can't hide forever. Aisha's mind raced. The burner phone was her only lifeline, but who could she call? The stranger hadn't given her a number. She pulled it out, her hands shaking, and powered it on. The screen lit up with a single text. If you're reading this, you're in trouble. Press 1. Aisha hesitated, then pressed 1. The phone vibrated, and a voice answered low and urgent. Aisha, listen carefully. Lisa works for Skynet. She's not alone on that plane. Get to the cargo hold. There's a way out. Who is this? Aisha whispered, her voice barely audible. No time. Cargo hold. Now. The call cut off. Aisha peeked out from the curtain. Lisa was at the front of the cabin talking to another flight attendant, a man with a shaved head and a scar on his neck. They both looked her way, and Aisha's blood ran cold. She had to move. She slipped out of the galley, staying low, and found a door marked crew only. It led to a narrow staircase spiraling down. She took it, her sneakers silent on the metal steps, until she reached a cold, dark space. The cargo hold. The cargo hold was a maze of crates and bags, lit by dim red lights. The air was freezing, and the hum of the engines was deafening. Aisha crouched behind a crate, her breath visible in the cold. She still held the burner phone, but the screen was blank, no signal, no bars. She heard footsteps on the stairs. Lisa's voice echoed down. Aisha, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Aisha's heart pounded. She scanned the hold, looking for the way out the voice had promised. Near the back, she saw a small hatch, barely big enough to crawl through. It was locked with a keypad, glowing faintly. She crept toward it, staying low. The footsteps stopped, and Aisha froze. She could feel Lisa's presence, like a predator stalking prey. Then, a loud thud. Something fell from a crate, rolling across the floor. A flashlight beam swept the hold, and Lisa cursed under her breath. Aisha reached the hatch, her fingers trembling as she studied the keypad. She had no code, no clue. She tried 1, 2, 3, 4, desperate, but it buzzed red. Then she remembered the badge, in her pocket, the one from Karen, or Ellen Voss. She pulled it out, noticing a tiny chip embedded in the back. She pressed the badge to the keypad, praying. The lock clicked, and the hatch swung open, revealing a narrow tunnel. Aisha crawled inside, pulling the hatch shut just as Lisa's flashlight beam hit the spot where she'd been. The tunnel was tight, barely wide enough for Aisha's shoulders. It smelled of oil and metal, and the walls vibrated with the plane's engines. She crawled forward, her knees scraping the floor, unsure where it led. The stranger's words echoed in her head. There's a way out. After what felt like forever, the tunnel opened into a small compartment, filled with wires and blinking panels. A maintenance bay, maybe. Aisha stood, her legs shaky, and saw a single screen on the wall. It flickered to life, showing a grainy video feed of Lisa, still in the cargo hold, talking into a radio. She's gone, Lisa said, her voice crackling through the speaker. Find her before we land, or the boss will have our heads. Aisha's stomach dropped. The boss? Who was running this? She scanned the compartment, looking for a weapon, a way out, anything. Then she saw it, a small case labeled emergency kit. Inside was a flare gun, a knife, and a radio. She grabbed the knife, tucking it into her belt, and turned on the radio. Static hissed, but a voice broke through. Aisha, you there? It was the stranger from the burner phone. I'm here, she whispered. Who are you? What's going on? Name's Marcus. I used to work for Skynet, until I found out what they're really doing. They're not just stealing data. They're rigging deals, ruining lives. Your merger threatens to expose it all. That's why they want you gone. Aisha's mind raced. What do I do? Stay hidden until we land. I've got people waiting in San Francisco. They'll get you to safety. But watch out, Lisa's not the only one on that plane. The radio cut off, and Aisha heard a new sound, a faint creak, like someone opening the hatch behind her. Aisha spun around, knife in hand, as the hatch creaked louder. The dim red light of the maintenance bay flickered, casting shadows that danced like ghosts. She pressed herself against the wall, her heart slamming in her chest. The hatch groaned open, and a figure stepped through. Lisa, her blonde hair glinting. Gun raised. You're fast, Lisa said, her voice sharp. But not fast enough. Aisha didn't think. She grabbed the flare gun from the emergency kit and fired. A bright red streak shot out, hissing past Lisa's head and exploding against a panel in a shower of sparks. Lisa ducked, cursing, and Aisha bolted. Weaving through the maze of wires and panels, the maintenance bay was a jungle of metal, with pipes and cables snaking everywhere. Aisha's sneakers skidded as she turned a corner, her breath loud in her ears. Behind her, Lisa's footsteps pounded, getting closer. "You can't run forever!" Lisa shouted. Aisha spotted a ladder leading up to a grate. Maybe it went back to the cabin, or somewhere safer. She climbed, her hands slippery with sweat, and pushed the grate open. It led to a narrow service corridor, lined with flickering lights. She scrambled through, pulling the grate shut just as Lisa's gun fired, the bullet pinging off the metal. Aisha ran down the corridor, her legs burning. The walls were covered in graffiti, crew names, dates, random doodles. But one marking caught her eye. EV was here, trust no one. Scratched next to it was a symbol, a circle with a slash through it. Aisha's stomach twisted. Ellen Voss had been here, leaving clues. She kept moving, the corridor twisting left, then right. The burner phone in her pocket buzzed, startling. Her. She pulled it out, the screen glowing with a new text. "Look for the circle. It's your way out." Aisha scanned the walls, her eyes darting. There, another circle with a slash, painted above a small panel. She pried it open, revealing a bundle of papers taped inside. Her hands shook as she unfolded them. They were Skynet memos, stamped confidential. One name stood out. Ellen Voss, operative. The memos detailed a plan to sabotage Nextech's merger by targeting key players. Aisha's name was circled in red. Another memo mentioned a cleaner on the plane, someone to tie up loose ends. Lisa? Or someone else? Aisha stuffed the papers into her jacket, her mind racing. Ellen Voss wasn't just a rogue flight attendant. She was deep in Skynet's dirty work. But why leave these clues? Step 16. The trap. The corridor ended at a locked door, a keypad glowing beside it. Aisha tried the badge again, but it buzzed red. She cursed under her breath, hearing Lisa's footsteps echo closer. Then, the radio in her hand crackled. "Aisha, you there?" Marcus's voice was tense. "You're close to the auxiliary control room. Get inside. It's safe." "How?" Aisha hissed, glancing back. "The code is 7193. Hurry!" Aisha punched in the code, and the door clicked open. She slipped inside, locking it behind her. The room was small, filled with screens and switches, like a mini cockpit. One screen showed the cargo hold, where Lisa was now joined by the scarred flight attendant from earlier. They were searching, guns drawn. Aisha's relief faded when she heard a click behind her. She turned, knife raised, to see a man in a pilot's uniform. He was tall, with gray eyes and a smirk. "Ms. Monroe," he said, holding a syringe. "You're a hard woman to catch." Aisha backed up, her knife trembling. "Who are you? Call." "Me the cleaner," he said, stepping closer. "Skynet doesn't like loose ends." Aisha's eyes darted to the screens. Lisa was climbing the ladder to the service corridor. She was trapped. Lisa outside, the cleaner inside. Her only chance was to fight. Aisha lunged, swinging the knife. The cleaner dodged, faster than she expected, and grabbed her wrist, twisting hard. The knife clattered to the floor. Aisha kicked his shin, breaking free, and scrambled for the flare gun in her pocket. "You're feisty," the cleaner said, lunging with the syringe. Aisha fired the flare gun, the shot hitting his shoulder. He screamed, stumbling back, the syringe flying. The flare sparked, setting a panel ablaze. Alarms blared, and sprinklers sprayed water, soaking the room. Aisha grabbed the knife and ran for the door. But the cleaner was back on his feet, blood dripping from his shoulder. He tackled her, pinning her down. "You're done," he growled, his hands on her throat. Aisha's vision blurred, but she felt the burner phone under her hip. She pressed it hard, hoping for a miracle. The radio crackled, and Marcus's voice boomed through. "Aisha, hold on! We're almost there!" The cleaner froze, distracted, and Aisha drove her knee into his stomach. He gasped, loosening his grip, and she rolled free, grabbing the syringe from the floor. She stabbed it into his leg, pushing the plunger. His eyes widened, and he collapsed, twitching. Aisha staggered to her feet, coughing, as the door burst open. But it wasn't Lisa. It was a woman in a flight attendant uniform, her badge reading T. Carter. "Come with me," she said, her voice urgent. "Marcus sent me." Aisha hesitated, the memos and Ellen's warning screaming in her head. Trust no one. But the alarms were deafening, and Lisa's footsteps were close. She had no choice. She followed Carter, gripping the knife, ready for anything. Aisha gripped the knife, her eyes locked on T. Carter as they hurried through the plane's service corridor. The alarms wailed, water dripping from the sprinklers above. Carter moved. Fast, her ponytail bouncing, but Aisha stayed ready to bolt. "Trust no one," Ellen Voss's warning echoed in her head. "Where are we going?" Aisha asked, her voice sharp. "Somewhere safe," Carter said, not looking back. "Marcus said to get you to the rear galley. We've got a plan." Aisha's gut twisted. Marcus had saved her so far, but Carter's badge could be fake, just like Karen's. She clutched the Skynet memos in her jacket. Their words burned into her mind. Her name, circled in red, marked for neutralization. They reached a steel door. Carter punched in a code and it slid open, revealing the rear galley, a cramped space with coffee pots and snack carts. The plane's hum was softer here, but Aisha's heart still raced. Carter locked the door and turned, her face serious. "Listen," Carter said. "I'm with Marcus. We're trying to stop Skynet. But Lisa and her team are close. We've got minutes before they find us." Aisha held the knife tighter. "Prove you're with Marcus. Tell me something only he'd know." Carter nodded, unfazed. "He gave you a burner phone at Chicago O'Hare. Told you to press 1 if you were in trouble." Aisha's jaw clenched. That checked out, but she wasn't sold. "What's Skynet planning? Why me?" Carter glanced at the door, then spoke fast. "Skynet's been hacking passenger data for years. Bank accounts, emails, everything. Your merger with Nextech will force Skynet to open their books. That'll expose their crimes. You're the lead negotiator, so they want you out." Aisha's mind flashed to the merger files on her tablet, now locked in her bag. "And Ellen Voss?" Carter's eyes darkened. She was one of them, a top operative, but she turned, started leaking their plans. That's why she's hiding, as Karen Reed. Before Aisha could ask more, the door rattled. Someone was trying to get in. Step 19. The ambush Carter grabbed a metal tray, holding it like a shield. "Get behind me," she whispered. Aisha ducked behind a cart, knife ready. The door hissed, and Lisa burst in, gun raised, the scarred flight attendant right behind her. His neck scar gleamed under the galley lights. "Game over," Lisa said, smirking. "Drop the knife, Monroe." Aisha's pulse pounded, but she didn't move. Carter stepped forward, tray up. "You're not touching her," she said, her voice steady. Lisa laughed, cold and sharp. "You're out of your league. Carter, step aside or you're done too." The scarred man raised his gun, but Carter was faster. She threw the tray, hitting his hand. The gun fired, the bullet smashing a coffee pot. Aisha seized the moment, lunging at Lisa with the knife. Lisa dodged, grabbing Aisha's arm, but Aisha twisted free, slashing Lisa's sleeve. Carter tackled, the scarred man slamming him against a cart. The galley erupted in chaos, crashing metal, shouts, and the plane's turbulence rocking everything. Aisha kicked Lisa's knee, sending her stumbling, but Lisa swung her gun, clipping Aisha's shoulder. Pain shot through her, but she didn't stop. "Enough!" the scarred man roared, pinning Carter to the wall. He aimed his gun at Aisha. "Drop it, or she dies." Aisha froze, the knife shaking in her hand. Lisa smirked, wiping blood from her lip. "Smart choice," she said, stepping closer. Then the radio in Aisha's pocket crackled. Marcus's voice cut through. "Aisha, stall them. We're boarding when you land." Lisa's eyes narrowed. "Who's that?" she snapped, grabbing the radio. Aisha saw her chance. She threw the knife, not at Lisa, but at the galley's fire extinguisher. It burst, spraying foam everywhere. Lisa coughed, blinded, and Aisha ran for the door. Aisha sprinted back to the service corridor, the foam stinging her eyes. Behind her, Lisa's shouts faded, but she knew they'd follow. The plane tilted, the captain's voice booming over the intercom. "Folks, we're landing in San Francisco in 10 minutes. Stay seated." Aisha's shoulder throbbed, but she kept moving, her mind on Marcus's words. We're boarding when you land. She had to get to the main cabin, blend in with the passengers. She found a staircase leading up and climbed, emerging in the economy section. Passengers were buckling up, oblivious to the chaos below. She slipped into an empty seat, pulling her hood up, and checked the burner phone. A new text. Gate 12. Blue van. Run. Aisha's heart raced. Could she trust Marcus? Carter had fought for her, but Ellen Voss's warning, trust no one, still gnawed at her. The plane touched down, bouncing hard. Aisha waited, watching the aisle. No sign of Lisa or the scarred man, but she spotted Carter, limping toward the front, her uniform torn. Their eyes met, and Carter nodded, mouthing, "Go." As passengers stood, Aisha joined the crowd, keeping her head down. She reached the jetway, her pulse pounding, and scanned for Gate 12. Then she saw him, the scarred man, standing by the gate, talking into a radio. He hadn't seen her yet, but Lisa was probably close. Aisha ducked into a gift shop, her eyes darting. A blue van waited outside the terminal window, its driver hidden. Was it Marcus's people, or a Skynet trap? Aisha's hand closed around the Skynet memos in her jacket. They were proof of the conspiracy, proof she wasn't crazy. But if she ran to the van, she might lose them, or worse, walk into a trap. If she stayed, Lisa and the scarred man would find her. She peeked out. The scarred man was moving toward the shop, his radio crackling. Aisha's breath hitched. Then she saw Carter again, waving from a service door across the terminal. "Aisha!" Carter hissed, beckoning. Aisha had seconds to decide. The van, Carter, or neither. She remembered the circle with a slash. The symbol Ellen Voss left. It was on the memos too, like a signature. Maybe Voss wasn't just a traitor. Maybe she was trying to help. Aisha made her choice. She sprinted toward Carter, dodging passengers, as the scarred man shouted behind her. Carter pulled her through the service door, slamming it shut. "You're crazy," Carter said, half laughing. "But you're alive." They ran down a maintenance hall, the airport's hum fading. "Where's Marcus?" Aisha asked, her voice shaky. "Outside," Carter said. "But we've got a problem. Skynet's got people in the airport. We need to—" A gunshot rang out, and Carter gasped, blood blooming on her shoulder. She fell, and Aisha turned to see Lisa, gun raised, at the end of the hall. "No more running," Lisa said, her eyes cold as ice. "This keeps the heat on with a wild chase, a risky alliance, and a cliffhanger, all in simple, thrilling style. Ready for more, bro? Want me to keep going? Throw in a twist, or something else? Just let me know." Aisha dropped to her knees beside Carter, her hands shaking as blood pooled under Carter's shoulder. Lisa's boots clicked closer, her gun steady. "You're out of moves, Monroe," Lisa said, her voice like a blade. Aisha's eyes darted around the maintenance hall. Gray walls, flickering lights, a janitor's cart in the corner. No exit, no weapons, just the knife in her belt and the Skynet memos in her jacket. Carter groaned, clutching her wound. "Run, Aisha," she whispered. "No way," Aisha said, her voice low. She wasn't leaving Carter. She grabbed a mop from the cart, gripping it like a bat. Lisa laughed, raising her gun. "A mop? Really?" Aisha didn't answer. She swung hard, aiming for Lisa's hand. The mop cracked against Lisa's wrist, and the gun flew, skidding across the floor. Lisa cursed, lunging for Aisha, but Aisha swung again, hitting Lisa's side. Lisa stumbled, gasping. Aisha dove for the gun, her fingers brushing the handle, but Lisa tackled her, slamming her into the wall. Pain exploded in Aisha's back, but she kicked out, catching Lisa's shin. Lisa fell, and Aisha scrambled up, grabbing the gun. "Stay down!" Aisha shouted, aiming at Lisa, her hands trembling. She'd never held a gun before, but Lisa didn't. "Need to know that." Lisa froze, her eyes burning with hate. "You pull that trigger, you're done. Skynet's everywhere. You can't win." Aisha's heart pounded. Carter was bleeding out, and the scarred man was probably close. She needed to move. "Get up," she told Lisa, waving the gun. "Hands behind your head." Lisa smirked, but obeyed, standing slowly. Aisha grabbed Carter's arm, helping her. "Up." "Can you walk?" she asked. Carter nodded, wincing. "Barely. Get me to Marcus." Aisha pushed Lisa forward. gun at her back, and helped Carter limp down the hall. She didn't know where Marcus was, but she had to trust he was close. The hall twisted, leading to a service elevator. Aisha pressed the button, praying it worked. Lisa stayed quiet, her smirk gone. But Aisha felt her calculating every step. The elevator dinged, and the doors slid open. Empty. Inside, Aisha said, shoving Lisa. She helped Carter lean against the wall, blood dripping down Carter's arm. Aisha hit the button for the ground floor, hoping it led outside. As the elevator hummed, Carter whispered, "Check the memos. There's a code. For Marcus." Aisha pulled the Skynet memos from her jacket, scanning them with one hand, the gun still on Lisa. Buried in the text was a handwritten note. M. Blue Lot, 9271. A code, maybe for the van. Aisha's hope flickered. If Marcus was waiting, they might make it. Lisa's voice cut through. "You're trusting the wrong people. Marcus isn't your friend." "Shut up," Aisha snapped, but Lisa's words stung. Ellen Voss's warning, "Trust no one," kept haunting her. The elevator stopped, and the doors opened to a dark parking garage. Cold air hit Aisha's face, and she saw a blue van idling across the lot, its headlights off. Her pulse raced. Was it Marcus? Carter slumped, her face pale. "Go! Now!" she gasped. Aisha hesitated. Lisa could run. Or worse, attack. But Carter needed help fast. Aisha made a split-second choice. She slammed the elevator's emergency stop, trapping Lisa inside, and dragged Carter toward the van. Aisha half-carried Carter across the lot, her shoulders screaming from the earlier hit. The van's door slid open, and a man jumped out. Gray hair, scar on his cheek. The stranger from Chicago. "Marcus, get in!" he shouted, rushing to help. He took Carter, lifting her into the van, where another woman, a medic, by her gear, started working on Carter's wound. Aisha climbed in, still holding the gun, her eyes on Marcus. "You better be who you say you are," she said, her voice hard. Marcus nodded, slamming the door. "I'm the guy trying to keep you alive. Drive!" he yelled to the driver, a young guy with a buzz cut. The van peeled out, tires squealing. Aisha glanced back at Carter, who was breathing, the medic bandaging her shoulder. "She'll make it," the medic said, not looking up. Marcus turned to Aisha. "You got the memos?" Aisha hesitated, then handed them over. Marcus scanned them, his face grim. "This is bigger than we thought. Skynet's not just after the merger. They're planning a data blackout, wiping entire systems to cover their tracks. If they pull it off, millions lose everything. Bank accounts, IDs, all of it." Aisha's stomach dropped. "And Ellen Voss?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "She was my partner. She went rogue to stop Skynet, but they caught her. That collapse on your flight? A setup. She's probably back in their hands now." The van swerved, and the driver cursed. "We've got company." Aisha looked out the back window. 2 black SUVs were gaining, their windows tinted. Marcus grabbed a rifle from under the seat. "Hold on," he said, rolling down his window. The van roared through the airport's service roads, weaving past cargo trucks. The SUVs stayed close, one pulling alongside. A window rolled down, and Aisha saw the scarred man, aiming a gun. Marcus fired first, his rifle cracking. The SUV's tire blew, and it spun out, crashing into a barrier. But the second SUV rammed the van, jolting Aisha forward. She gripped the seat, the gun still in her hand. "Shoot!" Marcus yelled, reloading. Aisha's hands shook, but she leaned out the window, aiming at the SUV's tires. She fired, the recoil jarring her arm. The bullet missed, pinging off the road. She fired again, and the SUV's front tire popped. It swerved, slowing down, but didn't stop. The driver shouted, "We're almost clear. Hang on." The van shot onto a highway, city lights blurring past. The SUV fell back, but Aisha knew Skynet wouldn't quit. She turned to Marcus. "Where are we going?" "A safe house," he said, checking his rifle. "We've got a team ready to leak these memos to the press. If we get them out, Skynet's done." Aisha nodded, but her mind spun. The memos, Ellen Voss, the data blackout. It was all too big. And Lisa was still out there, probably free from the elevator by now. Aisha's phone, the real one, not the burner, buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, seeing a new email. "You can't hide. We know where you are. No sender, just like before. Aisha's blood ran cold. She showed Marcus, and his face darkened. They're tracking you, he said. Ditch the phone. Aisha hesitated, then tossed it out the window, watching it shatter on the road. The van sped into the night, but Aisha couldn't shake the feeling that Skynet was one step ahead. This keeps the action hot with a tense standoff, a daring escape, and a high-speed chase, all while unraveling more of Skynet's plan. It's simple and thrilling, bro. Want me to keep going, add a twist, or something else? Let me know. The van screeched through San Francisco's streets, weaving between cars as the city lights streaked by. Aisha gripped the seat, her eyes flicking to the rear window. The black SUV was gone, but her heart still pounded. Marcus sat across from her, wiping sweat from his scarred cheek, his rifle ready. Carter lay on the van's floor, the medic still working on her wound. Where's this safe house? Aisha asked, her voice shaky. Old warehouse, edge of the city, Marcus said, not looking up. We've got people there, hackers, ex-cops, folks who want Skynet gone. They'll get those memos online. Aisha touched the memos in her jacket, their edges crumpled. Proof of Skynet's crimes. Data theft, sabotage, her name on a hit list. She wanted to trust Marcus, but Ellen Voss's warning, trust no one, kept her on edge. The van slowed, turning into a dark alley. The driver killed the headlights, and they rolled up to a rusty warehouse door. It creaked open, and a woman with a buzz cut waved them in. The van pulled inside, and the door slammed shut. Aisha stepped out, her sneakers echoing on the concrete. The warehouse was huge, lit by flickering bulbs. Tables were covered with laptops, cables, and coffee cups. A dozen people moved around, some typing furiously, others checking guns. It looked like a war room. The buzz-cut woman approached, her eyes sharp. You Monroe? She asked. Aisha nodded. Yeah, who are you? Jade. I run this crew. She glanced at Marcus. You sure she's clean? She's got the memos, Marcus said, handing them to Jade. That's what matters. Jade skimmed the papers, her face hardening. This is gold. Skynet's done if we leak this. She turned to Aisha. You're in deep now. No going back. Aisha's stomach twisted. I just want to stay alive. Jade smirked. Then stick with us. She led Aisha to a laptop, where a guy with glasses was hacking into a server. We're uploading these tonight. By morning, Skynet's secrets are global news. Aisha glanced at Carter, now on a cot, the medic giving her a shot. She'll live, Jade said. But we've got bigger problems. Skynet's got eyes everywhere. We need to move fast. Aisha sat by the laptop watching the hacker, Rico, he called himself, upload the memos. The screen showed a progress bar, 47%. Her shoulder ached and her mind raced. Ellen Voss, Lisa, the cleaner, Skynet's reach was massive. How could a warehouse of rebels stop them? Marcus handed her a coffee, his eyes tired. You did good, kid. Most people would have cracked. Aisha took the cup, but her guard stayed up. Why'd Ellen Voss leave those clues? If she was Skynet, why help me? Marcus sighed, sitting beside her. Ellen was complicated. She joined. Skynet young, believed their lies about fixing the system. But she saw what they really did. Ruined lives, stole futures. She started sabotaging them from the inside. Those clues were her way of fighting back. Aisha frowned. Then why target me on the plane? She wasn't targeting you, Marcus said. She was warning you. That collapse? She faked it to slip away, but Skynet's got her now. We're trying to find her. Before Aisha could reply, Rico cursed, slamming his laptop. We're hacked! Jade ran over. What? Someone's in our system, Rico said, typing fast. They're blocking the upload. The warehouse lights flickered and a low hum filled the air. Aisha's pulse spiked. Skynet? Jade grabbed a radio. Perimeter check, now. Voice crackled back. We've got movement outside. SUVs, armed guys. Aisha's blood ran cold. She looked at Marcus, who was loading his rifle. They found us, he said, his voice grim. Jade turned to Rico. How'd they know we're here? Rico's face went pale. I didn't. Aisha saw his hands shake, his eyes darting. She stood, backing away. He's lying, she said, her voice steady. He's with Skynet. Rico bolted for the door, but Jade was faster, tackling him. "You little rat!" she shouted, zip-tying his hands. The hum outside grew louder. Drones, maybe. Then a boom shook the warehouse, and the front door exploded inward. Smoke filled the warehouse as armed men in black gear stormed in, their guns flashing. Aisha dove behind a table, her heart pounding. Marcus fired back, his rifle barking, while Jade dragged Rico to cover. "Get to the back!" Marcus yelled at Aisha. "There's an exit!" Aisha crawled, glass cutting her palms as bullets zipped overhead. The hackers fought back, some with guns, others throwing equipment. Carter, still weak, grabbed a pistol from the cot and fired, her face pale but fierce. Aisha reached a back door, but it was locked. She fumbled with Ellen's badge, pressing it to the keypad. It beeped green, and the door swung open. She glanced. Back. Marcus was pinned. Jade was bleeding from a cut on her arm, and the attackers were closing in. She couldn't leave them. Aisha spotted a fire alarm on the wall. She smashed it, and sirens blared, sprinklers spraying water. The attackers hesitated, confused, giving Marcus and Jade a chance to regroup. Aisha ran back, grabbing a fallen gun. She'd never shot one, but she aimed at an attacker's leg and fired. He screamed, dropping, and Aisha felt sick but kept moving. Jade reached her, blood dripping. "Nice move, but we're not done. Get those memos to the server room. Second floor!" Aisha nodded, sprinting for a rickety staircase. She climbed, her legs burning, and burst into a small room with a single computer. The upload was at 62%, but the screen flickered. Skynet's hack still fighting back. She plugged in the memo's data chip, something Rico hadn't done. The upload jumped to 75%. Aisha's hope surged, but then she heard boots behind her. Lisa stepped into the room, her gun raised, a bruise on her cheek from the galley fight. "You're like a cockroach," she said, smirking. "But this ends now." Aisha dove behind the computer, her hands shaking as she typed. The upload hit 80%. Lisa fired, the bullet shattering a monitor. Sparks flew and Aisha ducked, her breath ragged. "You can't stop it," Aisha said, stalling. "The memos are going out. Skynet's finished." Lisa laughed, stepping closer. "You think a few leaks will stop us? We own the system. You're just a glitch." Aisha's eyes flicked to the screen. 90%. She needed time. She grabbed a cable from the floor, yanking it hard. A server sparked, and Lisa flinched, giving Aisha a second to lunge. She tackled Lisa, slamming her against the wall. The gun fired, grazing Aisha's arm, but she didn't let go. They wrestled, Lisa's nails clawing Aisha's face. Aisha kneed her stomach and Lisa gasped, dropping the gun. Aisha kicked it away, pinning Lisa down. The screen beeped. 100%. The memos were live, streaming to every major news outlet. Aisha's chest heaved. "It's over," she said. Lisa smirked, blood on her teeth. "You have no idea what's coming." Before Aisha could reply, Marcus burst in, his rifle aimed. "Aisha, you good?" she said, standing, her arm burning. "It's done." Marcus zip-tied Lisa's hands, but her words stuck with Aisha. "What's coming?" The warehouse was quiet now, the attackers gone or dead. Jade limped in, her arm bandaged. "You did it," she said, grinning. "Skynet's screwed." Aisha nodded, but her gut said it wasn't over. She pulled out the burner phone, hoping for a clue. A new text waited. "Good work. But Skynet's boss is still out there. Find me." Evie Ellen Voss. She was alive, and she knew more. This keeps the action blazing with a siege, a traitor reveal, and a tense showdown, all while pushing the conspiracy forward. It's simple and thrilling, bro. Want me to keep rolling, toss in a twist, or something else? Hit me up. Aisha stared at the burner phone, Ellen Voss's text burning into her brain. Skynet's boss is still out there. Find me. Evie. Her arm stung from the graze, and the warehouse smelled of smoke and wet concrete. Marcus hauled Lisa to her feet, her smirk gone, while Jade checked the server, confirming the memos were live. Skynet's crimes now splashed across the internet. "We did it," Jade said, her voice rough but relieved. "News outlets are eating this up." Aisha didn't smile. Ellen's message meant the fight wasn't over. "Who's Skynet's boss?" she asked Marcus, holding up the phone. Marcus's face tightened. "No one knows. Ellen got close, but even she couldn't name them." They're a ghost, pulling strings from the shadows. Aisha's gut churned. She'd risked everything, but the real enemy was still free. Ellen's alive. She wants me to find her. Jade frowned, wiping blood from her arm. Could be a trap. Skynet's desperate now. They'll do anything to clean this up. Maybe, Aisha said. But Ellen left clues before. She's helped me survive. I need to know what she knows. Marcus nodded, handing her a jacket to cover her torn clothes. We've got a lead on Ellen. One of our hackers traced a signal to a motel near the docks. Could be her. Aisha slipped on the jacket, pocketing the phone and knife. Then let's go. Carter, now sitting up on the cot, called out, her voice weak. Be careful, Aisha. Skynet's not done. Aisha met her eyes, nodding. She followed Marcus and Jade to a beat-up sedan parked behind the warehouse. The city was dark, rain starting to fall. As they drove, Aisha's mind raced. Ellen Voss, the mysterious boss, the memos. She was in too deep to turn back. The sedan pulled into a grimy lot by the docks, where a neon sign flickered. Starlight Motel. Rain pounded the roof, and the air smelled of salt and oil. The motel was a dump, peeling paint, broken windows. The kind of place no one asked questions. Marcus cut the engine. Room 17, that's where the signal came from. Aisha squinted through the rain. Room 17's curtains were drawn, but a faint light glowed inside. What's the plan? She asked. We go in quiet, Jade said, checking her gun. If it's Ellen, we talk. If it's Skynet, we fight. Aisha gripped her knife, her pulse quick. They stepped out, rain soaking them instantly. Marcus led, picking the lock on Room 17's door. It creaked open, revealing a dark room. Empty bed, flickering TV, a half-eaten burger on the table. No Ellen. Aisha's heart sank. But then she saw it. A circle with a slash, scratched into the wall above the bed. Ellen's symbol. She was here, Aisha whispered. Jade checked the bathroom. Clear. Marcus knelt by the bed, pulling out a small device, a burner phone, taped underneath. Its screen showed one message, Pier 9, midnight. Come alone. Aisha checked her watch, 11:42 p.m. That's in 18 minutes. It's a trap, Jade said, her voice flat. Skynet could have planted this. Or it's Ellen, Aisha countered. She's been one step ahead this whole time. Marcus stood, his face grim. Your call, Aisha. We can back you. But if she said alone, she means it. Aisha's mind spun. Every choice felt like a gamble, but Ellen's clues had kept her alive. I'm going. Alone. Marcus didn't argue. We'll be close. Signal if you're in trouble. He handed her a tiny earpiece. Aisha nodded, slipping it in. She left the motel, rain stinging her face, and ran toward Pier 9, the knife heavy, in her pocket. The pier was a ghost town, waves crashing against rusted posts. Rain blurred the city lights, and Aisha's sneakers splashed through puddles. She reached the end of the pier, where a lone warehouse stood, its windows dark. Her watch read 11:59 p.m. She tapped the earpiece. I'm here, she whispered. Marcus's voice crackled. We're a block back. No movement yet. Aisha scanned the shadows, her hand on the knife. Then a figure stepped out from the warehouse door. Tall, hooded, moving slow. Aisha's breath caught. Ellen, she called. The figure stopped, pulling back the hood. It was her, Ellen Voss, or Karen Reed, her face pale, eyes sharp. Her hair was short, dyed black, but it was the same woman from Flight 217. You're stubborn, Ellen said, her voice low. I told you to back off. Aisha stepped closer, rain dripping down her face. You left clues. You wanted me to find you. Ellen's lips twitched, almost a smile. Maybe. You've got guts, Monroe. That's why you're still alive. Who's Skynet's boss? Aisha asked, cutting to it. You know, don't you? Ellen's eyes darkened. I know enough. They're closer than you think. Someone you've met. Someone who... A gunshot cut her off. Ellen gasped. Blood spreading across her chest. She fell, and Aisha dove behind a crate, her heart pounding. Marcus! She hissed into the earpiece. Shoot her! On our way, Marcus replied, but the line crackled with static. Aisha peeked out, seeing a shadow. Move on the warehouse roof. Another shot rang out, splintering the crate. She crawled toward Ellen, who was still breathing, blood bubbling on her lips. "Ellen, stay with me," Aisha said, pressing her hands to the wound. Ellen grabbed Aisha's arm, her voice a rasp. "The boss, they're on the plane." Her eyes fluttered shut, and her hand fell limp. Aisha's blood ran cold. On the plane? Lisa? The cleaner? Someone else? She didn't have time to think. Footsteps crunched behind her, and a voice spoke, calm and cold. "Stand up, Ms. Monroe. Let's finish this." Aisha turned, rain blurring her vision, and saw a face she recognized, one that made her heart stop. It was Tim, the young flight attendant from Flight 217, the one who'd backed her up against Karen. His nervous act was gone, replaced by a chilling smile. He held a silenced pistol, rain dripping off its barrel. "You?" Aisha whispered, her voice breaking. "Surprised?" Tim said, stepping closer. "You shouldn't be. I've been watching you since New York." Aisha's mind reeled. Tim had checked her boarding pass, defused the fight with Karen. He'd seemed harmless. "You're Skynet's boss?" Tim laughed, soft and cruel. "Boss? No. I'm the fixer. The boss is bigger, but I clean their messes. You, Aisha, are a mess." She backed up, her sneakers slipping on the wet pier. Ellen's words, "on the plane," clicked. Tim had been there, playing innocent while pulling strings. "Why me?" she asked, stalling. "Your merger," Tim said, his gun steady. "It's a threat. Skynet's built an empire on secrets. You were about to burn it down." Aisha's hand brushed the knife in her pocket. "The memos are out. You've lost." Tim's smile didn't waver. "Memos can be buried. News can be faked. You, though? You're a loose end." He raised the gun, but Aisha was ready. She threw the knife, aiming for his hand. It grazed his wrist, and he flinched, the shot going wide. Aisha charged, tackling him into the crate. They hit the ground, rain soaking them, and Aisha punched his face, her knuckles splitting. Tim elbowed her side, rolling free. He grabbed the gun, but headlights flashed. Marcus's sedan roaring onto the pier. Tim fired at the car, and Aisha tackled him again, slamming his head against the crate. He went limp, the gun splashing into a puddle. Marcus and Jade jumped. Out, guns raised. "Aisha!" Marcus shouted, running to her. She staggered up, panting, rain mixing with blood on her face. "It's him," she said, pointing at Tim. "He's Sky 12:53 p.m. PKT on Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Aisha stood over Tim's limp body, rain pounding her face, her knuckles raw from the fight. Marcus ran up, his gun trained on Tim, while Jade checked Ellen Voss's body. "She's gone," Jade said, her voice flat, closing Ellen's eyes. Aisha's chest tightened. Ellen had tried to warn her, and now she was dead. Tim groaned, stirring, and Marcus zip-tied his hands, yanking him up. "Talk," Marcus growled. "Who's the boss?" Tim's head lolled, blood trickling from his nose, but his smirk returned. "You'll never find them. They're untouchable." Aisha grabbed his collar, her voice shaking. "You said I was a loose end. Why? What's Skynet hiding?" Tim's eyes gleamed, even in pain. "Everything. Money, power, control. Your merger was just a spark. The fire's already burning." Marcus shoved Tim toward the sedan. "We'll get answers later. Aisha, we need to move. Skynet's still out there." Aisha nodded, but her eyes fell on Ellen's body, rain pooling around her. She noticed something clutched in Ellen's hand, a small key etched with the circle and slash symbol. Aisha pried it free, pocketing it. "She left this for me," she whispered. Jade touched her shoulder. "We'll figure it out. Let's go." They piled into the sedan. Tim slumped in the back, Marcus guarding him. Aisha sat up front, the key heavy in her hand. The driver, Jade, hit the gas, tearing through the rainy streets. Aisha's mind raced. Tim wasn't the boss, just a fixer. The real mastermind was still free, and Ellen's key was her only clue, the one. Seddon pulled into a new safe house, a rundown auto shop in an industrial district. The crew from the warehouse was already there, patching wounds and reloading guns. Carter was up, her shoulder bandaged, helping Rico's replacement, a quiet girl named Mia, monitor news feeds. Skynet's leaked memos were trending, but some outlets were calling them fake, just like Tim predicted. Marcus dragged Tim into a back room, tying him to a chair. Aisha followed, the key burning a hole in her pocket. "Start talking," she said, standing over Tim. What's the key for? Who's running Skynet? Tim chuckled, his face bruised. You're cute when you're mad. That key? It's nothing. A dead end like you. Marcus slapped him hard. Answer her. Tim spat blood, his smirk fading. Fine. The key's for a lockbox. Ellen stole it from the boss. But you'll never find it. Or them. They're in the system, everywhere. Nowhere. Aisha's stomach twisted. What system? The data blackout? Tim's eyes flickered, like she'd hit a nerve. You're smarter than you look. Yeah, the blackout. Wipe the slate clean. Banks, records, everything. Skynet rebuilds the world. Their way. Aisha glanced at Marcus, who nodded. Where's the lockbox? She asked. Tim shrugged. Could be anywhere. Ellen was paranoid. Hid it well. Good luck. Jade burst in, her face tense. We've got a problem. Skynet's hitting back. Cyber attacks on news sites, crashing the leaks, and there's chatter about a hit squad heading here. Aisha's pulse spiked. We need that lockbox. It's got answers. Marcus untied Tim, shoving him forward. You're coming with us. If you're lying, you're dead. Aisha, Marcus, Jade, and Tim piled into a new van, Mia driving. Carter stayed behind to coordinate with the crew. Aisha studied the key, its circle and slash symbol matching Ellen's clues. Ellen left this on the plane, in the motel, now here, Aisha said. She's pointing us somewhere. Marcus frowned, driving through the rain-soaked city. Ellen worked Skynet's ops in San Francisco. She knew their hideouts. Maybe the lockbox is at one. Tim snorted from the back, hands still tied. You're chasing ghosts. Ellen's dead, and the boss is laughing. Aisha ignored him, thinking. The plane, Flight 217, started it all. Ellen's first clue was the badge, then the symbol in the service corridor. The airport, Aisha said suddenly. Ellen hid stuff there. The lockbox could be in a locker, a storage room, something. Jade nodded. Worth a shot. Mia, head to SFO. The van sped toward the airport, rain hammering the roof. Aisha's arm throbbed, but she focused on the key. If the lockbox held proof of Skynet's boss or the blackout plan, it could end this. As they neared the airport, Mia cursed. Tail. 2 cars, black, closing fast. Marcus checked the mirror. Skynet. Floor it. Mia gunned the engine, but the cars kept up, their headlights glaring. A window rolled down, and a gun flashed. Bullets pinged off the van's rear, and Aisha ducked, her heart racing. Step 37. The airport showdown. The van screeched into the airport's cargo lot, the black cars right behind. Marcus tossed Aisha a pistol. You know how to use this? Barely, she said, gripping it. Point and shoot, he said, kicking open the door. They spilled out, rain soaking them, and took cover behind cargo crates. Tim stumbled, still, tied, and Marcus shoved him down. Stay put, he growled. Jade and Mia fired at the cars, their guns cracking in the night. Aisha peeked out, seeing 4 men in tactical gear advancing, their rifles sweeping the lot. She aimed, her hands shaking, and fired. 1 man dropped, clutching his leg, and Aisha's stomach churned. Locker areas that way, Marcus shouted, pointing to a service building. Go, Aisha! She ran, the key in one hand, pistol in the other. Bullets zipped past, splintering. Crates. She reached the building, kicking open the door. Inside was a row of lockers, some with padlocks. Her eyes scanned for the symbol. There, on locker 19, a faint circle with a slash. She jammed the key in, twisting. It clicked, and the locker opened, revealing a metal lockbox. Aisha grabbed it, her hands trembling, but before she could open it, the door burst open. Lisa stood there, her gun raised, rain dripping from her hair. Drop it, Lisa said, her voice ice. Aisha froze, the lockbox heavy in her hands. Outside, gunshots echoed. Marcus and Jade were still fighting. Aisha's eyes flicked to the pistol on the floor, but Lisa stepped closer, her gun steady. You're too late, Aisha said, stalling. The memos are out. Skynet's done. Lisa's smile was cold. You still don't get it. The boss planned for this. The blackout's starting now. Aisha's blood ran cold. The lockbox was her last shot, but Lisa's finger tightened on the trigger. Then a shout. Marcus, bursting through the door, tackling Lisa. The gun fired, the bullet grazing Aisha's leg. She fell, pain searing, but clung to the lockbox, crawling for cover as Marcus and Lisa fought. This keeps the action pumping with a desperate chase, a new clue, and a tense standoff, all in simple, thrilling style. Ready for more, bro? Want me to keep going? Add a twist? Or something else? Hit me up. Aisha crawled behind a locker, her leg burning from the bullet graze. The lockbox clutched to her chest. Marcus and Lisa grappled on the floor, fists flying, Lisa's gun skidding out of reach. Aisha's hands shook as she fumbled with the lockbox's latch, rain and blood making her fingers slip. She had to know what Ellen Voss died for. The latch clicked and the box opened. Inside was a USB drive, a folded note, and a photo. Aisha grabbed the note first, her eyes scanning Ellen's tight handwriting. Blackout code on drive. Boss's name and photo. Stop them. The photo showed a man in a suit, smiling at a Skynet gala, his face circled in red. Aisha didn't recognize him, but her gut said he was the key. Marcus grunted, pinning Lisa's arms. "Aisha, you got it?" he yelled. "Yeah," she shouted, stuffing the drive, note, and photo into her jacket. Her leg throbbed, but she stood, limping toward the door. Gunshots still echoed outside, Jade and Mia battling Skynet's hit squad. Lisa twisted free, elbowing Marcus's jaw. She lunged for her gun, but Aisha was faster, kicking it into the corner. Lisa snarled, charging at Aisha, but Marcus tackled her again, slamming her head against the floor. She went limp, out cold. "Move," Marcus said, grabbing Aisha's arm. "We're not clear yet." Aisha nodded, pain shooting through her leg as they ran out of the locker room, the lockbox left behind. The cargo lot was chaos. Crates splintered, Skynet's men down or fleeing. Jade waved from the van, blood on her face, Mia covering her. "With a pistol! Get in!" Jade shouted. Aisha and Marcus dove into the van, Mia hitting the gas. The hit squad's remaining car peeled after them, but Mia swerved through the airport's service roads, losing it in the maze. Aisha's breath came in gasps, the USB drive heavy in her pocket. "What's in the box?" Marcus asked, wiping blood from his lip. "Proof," Aisha said, holding up the photo. "And a name, Skynet's boss." The van roared onto a highway, rain blurring the city lights. Jade patched Aisha's leg with a first aid kit, her hands steady despite the chaos. "You're lucky," Jade said. "Just a graze." Aisha winced, clutching the photo. The man's face, sharp jaw, gray eyes, felt familiar, but she couldn't place him. "We need to check this drive," she said. "Ellen said it's got the blackout code." Marcus nodded, his face grim. "Back to the auto shop. Mia's got a clean laptop. We'll crack it there." Aisha glanced at Tim, still tied in the back, his head down. He'd been silent since the airport, but his earlier words haunted her. The boss is untouchable. Was the man in the photo really the mastermind, or another decoy? The van hit a pothole, jolting Aisha. Her earpiece crackled. Carter's voice, faint. "Aisha, you there? Skynet's moving fast. Blackouts started. Banks are crashing in Europe." Aisha's blood ran cold. "How bad?" "Bad," Carter said. "If that drive's got the code, use it. Now." Mia pushed the van harder, weaving through traffic. Aisha pulled out the burner phone, hoping for another message from Ellen. But the screen was blank. Then it buzzed. A text. "Safe house compromised. Get out of SF. M. Marcus!" Aisha showed him the phone. "Is this you?" His eyes widened. "No. Someone's using my initial." "Skynet?" Jade cursed, checking her gun. "The auto shop's not safe. We need a new plan." Aisha's mind raced. The blackout was spreading. Skynet was closing in. And the man in the photo was still a mystery. "Where do we go?" she asked. Mia spoke up, her voice calm. "I know a spot. Old server farm, outskirts of Oakland. It's off-grid, got power. We can plug in the drive there." "Do it," Marcus said, but Aisha saw his hand tighten on his. Rifle. Trust was thin, and the text had shaken him. The van pulled into a deserted lot, where a concrete building loomed, its windows boarded. The rain had stopped, leaving a damp chill. Aisha limped out, the USB drive in her hand, the photo tucked in her jacket. Marcus dragged Tim, who smirked but stayed quiet. Mia led them inside, through rusted doors to a room humming with old servers, their lights blinking like eyes. A dusty laptop sat on a table, and Mia booted it up, her fingers flying. No Wi-Fi, no trace. We're safe here. Aisha handed her the drive. Get that code. Stop the blackout. Mia plugged it in, the screen filling with files. Aisha leaned in, seeing lines of code labeled Project Eclipse. That's it, Mia said. The blackout program. If we can reverse it, we stop Skynet's wipe. Jade kept watch at the door, her gun ready. Marcus stood over Tim, who chuckled softly. You're wasting time, Tim said. The boss is already gone. Eclipse is just the start. Aisha ignored him, focusing on the photo. She pulled it out, studying the man's face. Then it hit her. She'd seen him before, in a Nextech boardroom months ago. This is Victor Crane, she whispered. He's on Skynet's board. He sat in on our merger talks. Marcus's jaw dropped. Crane? He's a billionaire. Funds half the tech world. Aisha's stomach twisted. Crane had smiled at her, shaken her hand, all while plotting her death. He's the boss, she said. Ellen knew. Mia's laptop beeped, pulling Aisha's focus. Got it, Mia said. The code's uploading. It'll block Eclipse. Banks should stabilize. Aisha exhaled, relief flooding her. But then the lights flickered, and a low hum filled the room. Jade spun, gun raised. We've got company. The server farm's doors rattled, and shadows moved outside. Aisha grabbed the pistol, her leg throbbing but her grip steady. Marcus untied Tim, shoving him forward. You're bait, he growled. Tim laughed, unafraid. You're all dead anyway. Mia yanked the USB drive, pocketing it. The code's sent. We just need to get out. Jade fired a warning shot through the door, and the shadows scattered. They're circling us, she said. We're trapped. Aisha's eyes darted, landing on a vent in the wall. There, she said. It's tight, but we can fit. Marcus nodded, kicking the vent open. Mia, you first, then Aisha. Mia crawled through, followed by Aisha, her legs screaming as she squeezed into the dusty shaft. Jade and Marcus pushed Tim in next, then followed. The vent led to a maintenance tunnel, cold and damp. Aisha's heart pounded. She'd escaped. Like this on the plane, but this felt different. Final. They emerged in a backlot, the van still there, but as they ran for it, headlights flared. 3 SUVs blocking their path. Men in tactical gear stepped out, led by a tall figure in a suit. Victor Crane, his gray eyes glinting, a pistol in his hand. Ms. Monroe, Crane said, his voice smooth. You've caused me a lot of trouble. Aisha froze, the USB drive in Mia's pocket, their only weapon. Marcus raised his rifle, but Crane's men were faster, guns trained on them. Tim smirked, stepping toward Crane. Told you, Tim said. Untouchable. Aisha's mind raced. The blackout was stopped, but Crane was here, ready to end it all. She clutched the photo, Ellen's last gift, and realized something. Ellen hadn't just named Crane. She'd left a way to fight back. This keeps the heat on with a huge reveal. A desperate escape, and a face-to-face with the boss, all in simple, thrilling style. Ready for more, bro? Want me to keep going, add a twist or something else? Let me know. Aisha's heart slammed against her ribs as Victor Crane's gray eyes locked on her, his pistol gleaming in the damp night. The server farm lot was silent except for the drip of leftover rain. Crane's men fanning out, their rifles ready. Marcus gripped his rifle. Jade and Mia stood tense, and Tim smirked beside Crane, his hands free now. Aisha's leg throbbed, but she held the photo from Ellen's lockbox, her mind racing for a way out. You've been busy, Ms. Monroe, Crane said, his voice calm, like he was chatting over coffee. Leaking memos, stopping my blackout. Impressive. But pointless. Aisha's fingers tightened on the photo, Ellen's note flashing in her head. Boss's name and photo. Stop them. She glanced at Mia, who nodded slightly, the USB drive hidden in her pocket. The drive had stopped the blackout, but Crane didn't know that yet. Aisha had to play it smart. The game's over, Aisha said, her voice steady despite the fear. The memos are viral. Your blackout's dead. Everyone knows what Skynet did. Crane's smile didn't waver. You think a few headlines stop me? I own the networks, the banks, the truth. By morning, your leaks will be fake news, and you'll be a memory. Marcus shifted, his rifle twitching, but Crane's men tightened their aim. "Don't," Crane warned, his pistol now on Marcus. "I'd rather keep this clean." Aisha's eyes flicked to the photo again, and she saw it. A faint code scribbled on the back, hidden in the corner. 9271. The same code from Ellen's motel message. It wasn't just for the van. It was for something bigger. A failsafe. She took a step forward, raising the photo. "Ellen Voss left this," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Your name, Crane. And a code. She knew you'd come." Crane's smile flickered, just for a second. "Ellen was a traitor. Whatever she left, it's useless. Then why are you sweating?" Aisha shot back, stalling. She needed time to figure out the code. Tim laughed, but it was nervous. "She's bluffing." "Boss, finish it." Aisha ignored him, her mind racing. The code, 9271, matched the van, but Ellen's clues were layered. The circle and slash symbol had been on the plane, the motel, the lockbox. It was a signal, a trigger. Aisha's gut said the server farm had one too. "Last chance," Crane said, raising his pistol. "Hand over the drive, or I start with your friends." Aisha glanced at Mia, who mouthed, "Ready." Aisha took a deep breath, betting everything on Ellen's plan. She said, holding up her hands. "Mia, give him the drive." Mia stepped forward, slow, pulling the USB drive from her pocket. Crane's men kept their guns trained, but Aisha's eyes scanned the lot. There, on a rusted electrical box near the server farm's wall, a faint circle with a slash, barely visible in the dark. As Mia handed the drive to Tim, Aisha edged toward the box, her heart pounding. "You win, Crane," she said, keeping his focus. "But you're wrong about Ellen. She outsmarted you." Crane's eyes narrowed, and Tim plugged the drive into a tablet, checking it. "It's the blackout code," Tim said, frowning. "But it's been rewritten." They stopped it. Crane's face darkened, his pistol swinging to Aisha. "You little—" Aisha dove, ripping open the electrical box. Inside was a keypad, glowing faintly. She punched in 9271, praying. The box beeped, and a low hum started, vibrating through the ground. Lights flared in the server farm, and a voice, Ellen's, recorded, blared from hidden speakers. "Victor Crane, Skynet CEO, authorized Project Eclipse to erase global financial systems. This message, with proof, is now live to every major server. You're done." Crane's men froze, their radios crackling with panicked voices. Aisha saw fear in Crane's eyes for the first time. "No!" he shouted, firing at the box, but it was too late. The hum grew louder, and Aisha realized Ellen had rigged a backup, a server blast, sending Crane's confession worldwide. Marcus seized the moment, firing at Crane's men. Jade and Mia dove for cover, grabbing fallen rifles. Aisha scrambled, behind a crate, her legs screaming as bullets flew. Tim bolted, disappearing into the dark, but Crane stood his ground, firing at Aisha. "You ruined everything," he roared, his calm mask gone. Aisha ducked, grabbing a dropped pistol. She aimed, her hands shaking, and fired. The bullet hit Crane's shoulder, and he staggered, dropping his gun. Marcus tackled him, zip-tying his hands as Jade and Mia took down the last of his men. The lot went quiet, rain starting again. Aisha stood, panting, the photo crumpled in her hand. Ellen's voice looped, exposing Crane to the world. Marcus dragged Crane to the van, his shoulder bleeding, but his fight gone. Jade checked the server farm. Ellen's message was still broadcasting, unstoppable. Mia pulled up her laptop, showing news feeds. Skynet CEO exposed in global scandal. The blackout was halted. Banks recovering. Aisha limped to the van, her body aching but her mind clear. "Ellen planned this," she said, holding up the photo. "She knew Crane would come for the drive." Marcus nodded, his face grim. "She gave her life for it. We owe her." Jade joined them, wiping blood from her cheek. "Tim got away. He's still out there, and Skynet's not dead yet." Aisha's stomach twisted. Tim, the fixer, was loose, and Crane's empire had roots deep in the system. But the photo, the drive, Ellen's sacrifice, they'd cracked it open. Carter's voice crackled through the earpiece. "Aisha, you did it. World's waking up. Get to the safe house. New one, I'll send cords." Aisha looked at Crane, slumped in the van, then at the server farm, still humming with Ellen's truth. What about him? She asked Marcus. He talks, Marcus said. We'll get every name, every deal. Skynet's falling piece by piece. Aisha nodded, climbing into the van. Her leg burned, her hands shook, but she felt alive. She'd been a target, a pawn. But now she was a fighter. The burner phone buzzed. One last text. You're not done. Keep going. Evie Aisha stared at it, rain streaking the screen. Ellen was gone, but her fight wasn't. Aisha pocketed the phone, ready for whatever came next. The van rolled through the city, dawn breaking over San Francisco, the sky gray but clearing. Aisha sat beside Mia, who was typing on her laptop, tracking Skynet's fallout. Crane's accounts are frozen, Mia said. His allies are running scared. Jade cleaned her gun, her eyes on Tim's empty seat. We'll find him. Fixers don't hide long. Marcus drove, his knuckles white. Aisha, you're in this now. Skynet's wounded, but they'll hit back. You ready? Aisha touched the photo, Ellen's code still sharp in her mind. She thought of Flight 217, Karen's collapse, the chase through the plane. She'd been a tech exec, not a hero, but Skynet had changed her. She said, her voice firm. I'm ready. The van turned toward the new safe house, the city waking up to a world where Skynet's secrets were bare. Aisha didn't know what Tim was planning, or who else was hiding in Skynet's shadows, but she had the crew, the truth, and Ellen's legacy. As the sun rose, Aisha looked out the window, the circle and slash symbol etched in her mind. The fight was far from over, but she wasn't alone anymore. This wraps a major arc with Crane's takedown, Ellen's final play, and a setup for more, all in simple, thrilling style. Want me to keep rolling, toss in a twist, or something else? Bro, let me know. The van hummed through San Francisco's quiet streets, dawn painting the sky pink. Aisha's leg ached, bandaged but sore, and her hands still shook from the fight with Crane. She sat in the back, the photo of Victor Crane crumpled in her pocket. Ellen Voss's last text, keep going, looping in her mind. Marcus drove, eyes scanning the road, while Jade cleaned blood from her knife. Mia tapped her laptop, tracking Skynet's collapse, and Carter's voice crackled through the radio, guiding them to the new safe house. Turn left, Carter said, her voice steady despite her injury. It's a loft in Chinatown. Clean. Off-grid. Aisha leaned forward, her voice low. Any sign of Tim? Mia shook her head, not looking up. He's a ghost. No hits on cameras, no digital trace. Guy's good. Jade snorted, sliding her knife into its sheath. Not good enough. We'll find him. Aisha nodded, but her gut twisted. Tim, the fixer, had slipped away too easily, and his words, the boss planned for this, felt like a warning. Crane was down, but Skynet's network was vast. She pulled out the burner phone, half hoping for another clue from Ellen, but the screen was dark. The van stopped at a narrow alley, where a rusted fire escape led to a loft above a noodle shop. Marcus cut the engine. We lay low here. Plan our next move. Aisha climbed out, wincing as her leg hit the ground. The air smelled of soy sauce and rain. They hauled Crane, still zip-tied and silent, up the fire escape, his shoulder wound bandaged, but his eyes burning with hate. Inside, the loft was bare. Cots, a table, a single laptop. Carter was there, her arm in a sling, coordinating with the hacker crew via radio. You look like hell, Carter told Aisha, half smiling. Feel like it, Aisha said, dropping onto a cot. What's the damage? Carter nodded at Mia's laptop. Skynet's bleeding. Crane's arrest is global news, and their stocks are tanking. But Tim's out there, and someone's still pulling strings. We're picking up chatter. Skynet's planning a counterattack. Aisha's stomach dropped. Counterattack? Like what? Mia turned her laptop, showing a dark web forum. Posts about a reset, could be another blackout, or something worse. Tim's name keeps popping up. Aisha's hand closed around the photo. Ellen had exposed Crane, but Tim was the loose end. We need to find him, she said. Now. Marcus locked Crane in a closet, posting a guard, a burly hacker named Leo. Aisha gathered with Jade, Mia, and Carter around the table, the loft's dim light casting shadows. Mia pulled up a map of San Francisco, dotted with red pins. These are Skynet's known safe houses, she said. Tim could be at one. Aisha frowned, thinking. Tim's smart. He won't hide somewhere obvious. He's got to know we're hunting him. Carter nodded, wincing as she adjusted her sling. He's a fixer. Probably got a bolt hole somewhere off the books. But he's not invisible. We can track him. How? Jade asked, leaning back, her eyes sharp. Mia grinned, pulling a small device from her bag. A black box with blinking lights. This is a signal sniffer. I hacked it from Skynet's own tech. If Tim's using any of their encrypted comms, this'll catch it. Aisha's hope sparked. Can it find him now? Need to be closer, Mia said. We drive. Scan the job. City. If he's talking, we'll hear him. Marcus joined them, wiping sweat from his scarred cheek. Risky. Skynet's hit squads are still out there. But if we want Tim, it's our best shot. Aisha stood, ignoring her leg's pain. Let's do it. I'm not waiting for him to come for us. They loaded into the van, Mia's sniffer plugged into her laptop. Aisha sat beside her, watching the screen as they cruised through Chinatown's neon-lit streets. The city felt alive, oblivious to the war Aisha was fighting. Her mind drifted to Flight 217, Tim's fake nervous act, his betrayal. She'd trusted him, and it almost killed her. The sniffer beeped, and Mia's eyes lit up. Got something. Encrypted signal northwest, near the marina. Marcus gunned the engine. Hold on. The van rolled into the marina, where yachts bobbed in the dark water, their masts swaying. The sniffer's signal grew stronger, pinpointing. A small office building by the docks. Glass windows, dark inside, a perfect hideout. Aisha's pulse raced. Tim was close. Marcus parked a block away, killing the lights. We go in quiet, he said, handing Aisha a pistol. You good? Aisha nodded, checking the gun. Her hands were steadier now, her fear turning to focus. Let's end this. They split up, Marcus and Jade circling the back, Aisha and Mia taking the front. The building was silent, but the sniffer's beeps were frantic. Aisha picked the front door's lock, her knife steady, and slipped inside with Mia. The lobby was empty. Papers scattered on a desk, a faint hum in the air. Mia whispered, "Signals upstairs." They climbed a staircase, Aisha's leg protesting, but holding. At the top, a door stood ajar, light spilling out. Aisha peeked inside, a small office, monitors glowing, and Tim, sitting at a desk, typing on a laptop. He didn't see them. Aisha raised her gun, her voice low. Tim. Hands up. Tim froze, then turned, his smirk back. Aisha. You don't quit, do you? Step away from the laptop, she said. Stepping closer, Mia behind her. Tim stood, hands raised, but his eyes flicked to the door. Aisha's gut screamed, "Trap!" Before she could move, the lights cut out, and a gunshot cracked from the hall. Mia yelped, hitting the floor, and Aisha dove, firing blindly. Tim laughed, ducking behind the desk. You walked right into it. Aisha crawled to Mia, who clutched her arm, blood seeping through her fingers. I'm okay, Mia gasped. Get him! Footsteps pounded, Skynet's hit squad closing in. Aisha's eyes darted to the laptop, its screen showing a countdown. Reset protocol, 0002.17. Tim wasn't just hiding, he was launching Skynet's counterattack. Aisha dragged Mia behind a cabinet, bullets tearing through the door. Tim bolted, slipping through a side exit, but Aisha couldn't chase, not yet. The countdown was at 0:01:59 and she had to stop it. Mia, can you hack it? Aisha asked, keeping her gun on the door. Mia nodded, wincing as she crawled to the laptop. Blood. Dripping. Gimme a sec. Her fingers flew, code scrolling on the screen. The hit squad burst in, 3 men, masked, rifles raised. Aisha fired, hitting one in the shoulder. He fell, but the others returned fire, splintering the cabinet. Aisha ducked, her leg screaming, and fired again, dropping another. Marcus's voice crackled through the earpiece. Aisha! We're pinned outside. You working on it, she shouted, firing at the last man. He dove for cover, giving her a second. Mia cursed, typing faster. It's locked. Skynet's got a failsafe. I need Tim's access key. Aisha's heart sank. Tim was gone, and the countdown hit, 00:01:12. She scanned the room, spotting a flash drive on the desk, Tim's left in his rush. Try that! Mia grabbed it, plugging it in. The screen flashed and the countdown froze at 0:00:58. Got it, Mia said, typing furiously. Shutting it down! The last hitman lunged, but Aisha fired, hitting his leg. He collapsed, groaning. The laptop beeped, and the screen went black. Reset protocol terminated. Aisha exhaled, helping Mia up. You're a genius, she said. Mia grinned, pale but alive. Tell me something I don't know. Marcus and Jade burst in, guns raised. The outside fight over. Tim's gone, Marcus said, his face grim. But we've got his laptop. Might have more. Aisha nodded, her body aching but her resolve iron. Tim was still out there, and Skynet's shadow lingered. She picked up the flash drive, its circle and slash symbol glinting. Ellen's fight was hers now, and she wasn't stopping. This keeps the action blazing with a tense trap, a desperate hack, and Tim's escape, all in simple, thrilling style. Want more, bro? Keep going. Add a twist or something else. Hit me up. Isha leaned against the marina office wall, her leg throbbing, rain-soaked clothes clinging to her skin. Mia clutched her bleeding arm, but her eyes were sharp, scanning Tim's laptop. The hit squad was down, their groans mixing with the distant crash of waves. Marcus and Jade tied up the survivors, while Aisha held the flash drive with Ellen's circle and slash symbol, its weight heavy with secrets. Anything? Aisha asked Mia, her voice hoarse. Mia's fingers danced on the keyboard, blood smudging the keys. Tim's sloppy. Left a back door open. I'm in his encrypted files. Looks like Skynet's got a backup plan, something called Phoenix. Aisha's stomach twisted. Phoenix? What is it? Mia frowned, opening a file. Not sure. It's a server network, hidden offshore. Tim was coordinating it. Locations, access codes, timelines. Last update was an hour ago. Marcus joined them, his rifle slung over his shoulder. Tim's moving fast. Phoenix could be their way to rebuild after Crane's fall. Jade dragged a hitman to the corner, zip-tying his hands. We need to find that server. If Skynet's got a new network, they're not done. Aisha nodded, her mind racing. Ellen's clues, badge, symbol, lockbox, had led her this far. Tim's laptop was the next piece. Where's the server? She asked Mia. Mia scrolled, her face paling. Coordinates point to a ship, an old cargo freighter, docked at Oakland Port. It's leaving tonight. Aisha's pulse spiked. Tim was heading there, she was sure. We've got to stop him before that ship sails. Marcus checked his watch. Port's 20 minutes away. We move now. We might catch him. Aisha grabbed the laptop, tucking the flash drive in her pocket. Let's go. They piled into the van, Mia wincing as Jade bandaged her arm on the move. Marcus drove, weaving through San Francisco's dark streets, the city unaware of the battle raging in its shadows. Aisha stared at the laptop, a single email catching her eye. Phoenix active. Meet at freighter. T. No recipient, but it was sent 30 minutes ago. Tim was close. The van screeched into Oakland Port, where massive cranes loomed like giants against the night sky. Cargo containers were stacked high, and the air smelled of diesel and salt. A rusty freighter sat at the far dock, its lights dim, crew moving crates on board. Aisha's heart pounded. Tim was here, and Phoenix was on that ship. Marcus parked, behind a container, killing the engine. We split up, he said, handing Aisha a radio. Aisha, Mia, check the ship's deck. Jade, with me, will sweep the dock. Aisha nodded, her pistol heavy in her hand. Mia, arm bandaged, carried the laptop, ready to hack if needed. They crept toward the freighter, staying low, shadows hiding them. The crew didn't notice, busy with their work. Aisha and Mia climbed a gangway, their sneakers quiet on the metal. The deck was cluttered with crates, a faint hum coming from below. Servers, maybe. Aisha's eyes scanned for Tim, her grip tight on the gun. Mia whispered, "Signal's strong here. Phoenix is definitely on board." They moved toward the ship's bridge, where a light glowed. Aisha peeked through a grimy window, spotting Tim inside, talking to a man in a black coat. Tim's face was tense, his hands gesturing wildly. The man turned and Aisha froze. His face matched the photo, but it wasn't Crane. A twin, maybe? Or a decoy. Tim's not alone. Aisha hissed, pulling Mia back. We need to hear them. Mia nodded, pulling a tiny mic from her bag. She stuck it to the window, plugging it into her laptop. Tim's voice crackled through. Phoenix is ready, Crane's out, but the new boss wants it live by dawn. Aisha's blood ran cold. New boss? Crane was a front, just like Tim said. The man in the coat spoke, his voice low. Get the servers online. We're moving to international waters. Aisha's radio buzzed. Marcus. Aisha, Doc's crawling with Skynet guys. Get out now. Before she could reply, a crew member spotted them, shouting. Tim's head snapped up, and he bolted from the bridge, the man in the coat right behind. Aisha grabbed Mia, sprinting across the deck as footsteps pounded behind. Bullets pinged off crates, and Aisha fired back. Her shots, wild but enough to slow the crew. Mia clutched the laptop, her injured arm slowing her down. Down here, Aisha yelled, pulling Mia into a stairwell. They descended into the ship's belly, hum of servers louder now. The air was hot, the corridors tight, lined with pipes and flickering lights. Tim's voice echoed from ahead. Find them, Phoenix. Can't fail! Aisha's leg burned, but she pushed on, her gun ready. Mia panted, checking her laptop. The servers are close. If I can get in, I can shut Phoenix down. They turned a corner, finding a sealed door marked server room. A keypad glowed, and Aisha tried Ellen's code, 9271. It beeped green, and the door slid open, revealing rows of blinking servers, their fans roaring. Mia rushed to a terminal, plugging in her laptop. Give me 2 minutes. Aisha stood guard, her gun on the door. Footsteps grew louder, and Tim appeared, a pistol in his hand, the man in the coat behind him. Aisha, Tim said, smirking. You're predictable. Stay. Back! Aisha shouted, firing a warning shot. Tim ducked, but the man in the coat didn't flinch, his eyes cold. You don't know who you're fighting, the man said, his voice smooth. Skynet's bigger than Crane, bigger than me. Phoenix is the future. Mia's laptop beeped, and she grinned. I'm in! Shutting it down! Tim lunged, but Aisha fired, hitting his arm. He screamed, dropping his gun, and Aisha tackled him, pinning him down. The man in the coat raised his own pistol, but Marcus burst through the door, firing. The man fell, clutching his chest, and Jade followed, taking down a crew member behind him. Mia's screen flashed. Phoenix offline. The servers powered down, their lights fading. Aisha exhaled, her body shaking, Tim struggling under her. You're done, she told him, her voice fierce. Tim laughed, blood dripping from his arm. You stopped nothing. The new boss is already gone. Marcus zip-tied Tim, dragging him up, while Jade checked the man in the coat. Dead, his face still a mystery. Aisha helped Mia stand, her arm now soaked with blood. The ship was quiet, the crew gone or surrendered. Marcus radioed Carter. Phoenix is down. We've got Tim. Carter's voice crackled back. Good work. Get to the loft. We're tracking the fallout. Aisha stared at Tim, his smirk gone, his eyes defeated, but hiding something. Who's the new boss? She asked, grabbing his collar. Tim spat blood, silent. Marcus shoved him toward the stairwell. He'll talk. We've got ways. They climbed to the deck, the night air cold. The freighter was dead in the water, its servers fried. Mia held her laptop, the Phoenix files saved for evidence. Aisha's legs screamed, but she felt a spark of triumph. Skynet's backup plan was toast. As they reached the van, Aisha pulled out the burner phone, checking for Ellen's ghost. A new text waited. Phoenix was a decoy. Real plans in motion. Check the photo again. Aisha's heart stopped. She grabbed the photo from her pocket, flipping it over. Under the code, 9271, was a tiny inscription she'd missed. Skynet HQ, Vault. The new boss wasn't on the ship. They were at Skynet's core, launching something bigger. Marcus saw her face. What is it? Aisha showed him the text. We're not done. Skynet's still alive. The van sped off, Tim silent in the back, the city glowing under a new dawn. Aisha gripped the photo, Ellen's final clue pointing to a fight she couldn't walk away from. This keeps the intensity high with a shipboard showdown, a new twist, and a chilling hint at Skynet's real plan, all in simple, thrilling style. Want more, bro? Keep going. Add a twist or something else? Let me know. The jet hummed, cutting through the night sky toward Geneva. Aisha sat in the dim cabin, her leg bandaged, the Genesis drive heavy in her hand. Marcus cleaned his rifle. Jade sharpened a knife, and Tim, cuffed in the back, stared out the window, his silence a wall. Mia, patched up and working remotely from a hospital, fed them intel through a secure line. CERN, the heart of Skynet's final plan, waited ahead. Dr. Lena Voss, the Shadow founder, was there, launching Genesis, an AI designed to seize global systems, from power grids to defense networks. Aisha replayed Ellen's video in her mind. The circle and slash is her mark. Ellen's death had been the spark, her clues, the map. Aisha's fists clenched. Voss would answer for it all. They landed in a private airstrip outside Geneva, cloaked in darkness. Carter's contact, a grizzled ex-MI6 agent named Elena, met them with a van stocked with gear, EMP grenades, hacking rigs, and body armor. CERN's locked down, Elena said, her voice clipped. Voss has private security, not just drones. She's in the mainframe chamber, deep underground. Aisha nodded, checking her pistol. We go in quiet, hit hard. The team slipped into CERN through a maintenance tunnel, Elena's schematics guiding them. The air grew heavy, the hum of machinery louder as they descended. Mia's voice crackled in their earpieces. Genesis is live, spreading through financial systems. I'm slowing it, but you've got to physically cut the mainframe. At the chamber's entrance, a steel door loomed guarded by 2 sentinels, sleek humanoid drones with glowing red eyes. Jade took one down with a silenced sniper shot, and Marcus crushed the other with an EMP grenade. The door's biometric lock glowed. Aisha glanced at Tim, who smirked. You need me, she shoved him forward. Open it, or you're the first to die. Tim hesitated, then pressed his thumb to the scanner. The door hissed open, revealing a vast chamber. Rows of servers pulsed with blue light, cables snaking to a central console where a woman stood. Dr. Lena Voss. Her silver hair was pulled tight, her eyes cold as she typed on a holographic interface. The circle and slash symbol glowed on the screen. Aisha, Voss said without turning, her voice smooth as ice. You're persistent. Aisha stepped forward, gun raised. Shut it down, Voss. Genesis ends now. Voss laughed, finally facing them. Genesis is freedom. Skynet was never about control. It's about breaking the chains. Governments, corporations, they hoard power. My AI levels the playing field, gives everyone a voice. By crashing the world? Marcus growled, his rifle trained on her. Voss's eyes narrowed. Collateral damage. The old world's rotten. Genesis builds a new one. Aisha's gaze flicked to the console. Mia's voice whispered, plug the drive in. I can fry it. Aisha edged closer, keeping her gun on Voss. You killed Ellen to keep this quiet. Voss's face twitched. Ellen was weak. She wanted reform, not revolution. I offered her a place. She chose death. Anger surged in Aisha's chest, but she held steady, slipping the Genesis drive into a port. Mia's code flooded the system, screens flickering. Voss lunged for the console, but Jade tackled her, pinning her to the ground. Marcus swept the room, taking out 2 guards who burst in. The servers sparked, their hum faltering. Mia's voice came through, triumphant. It's down! Genesis is dead! Voss struggled under Jade, her calm cracking. You fools! You've doomed us to their control. Aisha knelt beside her, voice low. You don't get to decide the world's fate. Elena zip-tied Voss, while Marcus dragged Tim to the console, forcing him to input kill codes to lock the system permanently. The chamber went silent, the blue lights fading to black. Aisha pulled the drive out, her hands shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of victory. They climbed back to the surface, Voss and Tim in cuffs. Elena's team took them, promising a secure handover to international authorities. Mia patched in, her voice steady. No trace of Genesis left. We did it. Aisha stood under the Geneva sky, the stars sharp above. Ellen's photo rested in her pocket, the circle and slash no longer a threat, but a reminder. Skynet was broken, its leaders gone. The world wouldn't know how close it came to falling, but Aisha did. She thought of Ellen, her mentor, her ghost, and whispered, "We got her." Marcus clapped her shoulder. What now? Aisha looked at the horizon, the weight of the fight lifting. We rebuild, on our terms. They walked to the van, the dawn breaking behind them. Aisha didn't look back. The war was over and she was ready for whatever came next. The end.